I have as much experience in the Congress as Jack Kennedy did when he sought the presidency.
Senator, I served with Jack Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
What's the deal with all this newsreel stuff? Is this the edutainment division?
No, you've come to the right place. We're here to review a game.
Must be a pretty damn boring game if it's based on this stuff.
Oh, I beg to differ. This game draws its inspiration from the seamy underside of American society. You've got power, you've got greed, you've got naked ambition, you've got...
Oh, I get it. It's a game about politics.
Seeing as there's an entire generation out there that gets its political information from the Doonesbury comic strip, it's somehow fitting that creator Gary Trudeau has authorized the Doonesbury Election Game Campaign 96. The goal of the game is to put you in charge of a full-fledged presidential campaign, and for the most part, it's very successful.
For the most part? Gee, that's a bold statement. Are you thinking of running for office yourself?
Seeing as I've got enough skeletons to fill about 10 closets, I think not. I'm hedging because while I think all of the elements of a real campaign are there, I don't think the game's AI measures up. We'll discuss that in detail a little later on. You begin the game by choosing a candidate, and there are a lot to choose from. For instance, I played a couple of games managing the Clinton-Gore ticket against Dole Gingrich and Perot Schwarzkopf. However, you can also rewrite history. For instance, what if Bobby Kennedy hadn't been assassinated and had run against Nixon and Wallace in 1968?
Forgive me for sounding politically incorrect, but I wouldn't want to work for any professional politician. Are we stuck with these guys?
No, there is also relief for jaded cynics such as yourself. You can create your own candidate and give them any combination of views that you think will help them get elected.
Gee, i.e. Bobette certainly appears to be all things to all people. Sort of a combination of Newt Gingrich and Teddy Kennedy.
No one can run a presidential campaign alone, so you have to select a staff from the familiar Doonesbury characters.
That's sort of neat. Can I make BD my Secretary of Defense?
Not until you win the election. There are 4 staff slots: campaign strategist, communications director, spin doctor, and financial chairman. These characters act just like they do in the daily Doonesbury strip, so you need to pay attention to what you're doing here. For instance, hiring Zonker or Boopsy as your campaign strategist would be a bad idea. You can give your staff members authority to make decisions, or you can take their advice and micromanage the entire campaign. Once your staff is in place, you can begin your drive to the White House. There are 3 different campaign lengths: 4, 8, and 12 weeks. This is a turn-based game with each turn consisting of a day. You have access to a treasure trove of information, up-to-date polling results which helps you decide which states to concentrate on, a travel itinerary to schedule your candidate's campaign stops, demographic information which lets you decide which specific whacked-out fringe group you should cater to, and an advertising agency which lets you craft your candidate's message in your terms.
A character ad for Bill Clinton? You never told me this was a fantasy adventure game.
Cheap shot. You can also consult your staff at the start of each day. For instance, your communications director can update you on where you stand in the Electoral College, or your finance director can give you information on campaign contributions.
You know, while I didn't expect this to be Doom, this is all pretty dry stuff. When do we get to start slinging mud?
Like a real campaign, this game never gets close to a breakneck pace. Once you've finished making your choices and consulting with your advisors, you sit back and literally watch the day's events unfold. Various messages pop up on the screen detailing news stories, campaign stops by all of the candidates, and reports from your staff. Once the day ends, you're thrown back into the main screen where you start all over again the next day.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but you really seem to have little or no interaction with your opponents.
Well, there are things you can do, such as issuing or accepting a debate challenge. You're given time to prepare your candidate, and the results can play a major role in changing the campaign's dynamics. You can also hire a plumber to wreak havoc on the opposition.
What does a guy with a wrench have to do with a presidential election?
You need to dig up an encyclopedia and look up Watergate. Your plumber is in charge of dirty tricks which can either help you or backfire. The one instance I used a plumber was a successful one since he managed to plant a series of stories about Bob Dole's alien advisor.
Are you ever put in the position of reacting to your opponent's evil deeds?
That's where my concern lies, with the AI. I played a 4-week and an 8-week campaign with the computer managing both of my opponents, and never had to deal with any dirty tricks or negative campaigning.
You managed 2 Clinton campaigns and never heard a single bimbo reference?
Scary, ain't it? This bears no resemblance to political reality in the 90s. A human opponent would get down and dirty in a hurry, and you can have humans manage the other campaigns, but you can't play the game over a network. The main menu does contain some educational diversions. If you click on the TV, you can choose from a library of political video clips. The bookcase contains a reference list of books about American politics. If you call out on the phone, you get a series of messages which can range from the ridiculous,
Yeah, post office, this is Ed. I'm gonna have to put you on hold.
to the sublime.
You've reached the office of Congressman Newt Gingrich. If you'd like to make a purchase of one of Newt's fiction or nonfiction book products, press 1 now. If you'd like to purchase influence, press 2. For details, access our website at the beep.
Other than the part about Dole and the aliens, I didn't get a whole lot out of this.
You probably won't be alone. The Doonesbury election game will be a lot of fun for political junkies and pretty boring for everyone else.
We spent all this time building up to the "this game will appeal to a narrow audience" conclusion?
I'm afraid so.
God, I hate that conclusion.
In this case, I'm afraid it's true. If you consider politics a contact sport, you'll love this. Otherwise, wait for Quake to come out.